We begin tonight with breaking news on the war in the Middle East. Hamas says it has agreed with a ceasefire deal.
Well, here's the problem. Israel isn't there yet, saying the deal falls short of what it needs to end the war. However, Israel did say it will send a delegation to work on the deal. Meanwhile, as those negotiations continue, Israel moved forward with its plan to strike Rafah. It's urging the 100,000 civilians to leave the city.
Meanwhile, also breaking here at home, Sky Ranger over Mass Ave in Cambridge, where protesters spilled into the street, blocking part of the road. Now, the group came from MIT. The school had given student protesters until 2:30 p.m. to clear the encampments set up on campus, but that deadline passed. Students didn't budge, so police started to move in.
There is a lot to unpack here, from traffic impacts to possible arrests.
And we have it all covered for you with team coverage on the latest developments. We want to begin with NBC 10's Erin Logan. She's joining us live on Mass Ave with the very latest. Erin, what are you seeing from where you are?
Priscilla, a very chaotic scene here in Cambridge as both MIT and Harvard's presidents issue that deadline for any students involved or continuing to be involved in these encampments that they will face disciplinary action. Now, I want to be clear, this scene right here behind me consists mainly of MIT students that have gathered in protest. Now, right here, blocking the streets on Mass Ave, where we had Sky Ranger over the scene earlier, is actually mainly consisting of a group of high school students from all over Massachusetts. They started forming here late this afternoon, about 100 of them walking down Mass Ave and blocking the roadway. Shortly after, groups started merging and chanting for MIT to be more transparent about its financial interests and divest from any ties with Israel. Both MIT and Harvard's presidents issuing statements, again, that after roughly 2 long weeks of encampments, it now comes down to safety as campuses are being taken over by a hotly disputed issue. MIT's president calling the situation inherently unstable and that anyone continuing to be involved will face disciplinary action. Now, we talked to these high school students about what made them come out and take a stand. Joining me live right now is Alma Schauer from Lexington High School. Alma, you mentioned earlier that you were aware of the universities, putting forth these deadlines to get out of here and not be involved in these encampments. What do you think about this?
I honestly think it's such a shame because in our history classes as high school students, we're seeing images of student activists from the civil rights movement and South African apartheid demanding their universities to divest and to end their complicity with problems, with wrong things that happen in our world. And so seeing this kind of backlash that students, activists on college campuses are receiving is incredibly confusing. And that's the reason why us as high schoolers are here today to first and foremost demand that universities stop funding and stop funneling money into Israel, and to show our support with college students that are here at the encampments.
Thank you so much, Alma Schauer from Lexington High School, along with all these other high schoolers. We're going to hear more from them coming up on the news at 11. For now, we're live in Cambridge. Erin Logan, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, Erin, thank you. We want to head back out to MIT's campus. That's where we find our NBC 10's Eli Rosenberg. He's continuing our team coverage there with more on when officers first moved in. It got a little intense there. Eli, what's happening now?
Well, things have evolved. What started with 9 people in this encampment has swelled, and that is because about a half hour ago they came down here and they pushed all the fencing down. This was the fencing that separated MIT from those in the encampment. So this is what we have right now, and the crowd has swelled. You could see everyone. In a lot of places they have linked arms hand in hand to form a human chain around this encampment. We've also seen them bring in more tents, more refreshments, more drinks, more food, as if they're planning to be here for a while. We also have seen police retreat from the area. All afternoon, we saw more and more police officers arrive here. Cambridge police, MIT police, of course, and state police. We even saw Mass State Police's CERT team, which is their special emergency response team, arrive here. But around 5:30, people started jumping over the fence, and then people in the crowd started pushing against the fence, and that is when the fences started coming down and people rushed in around the encampment. The president of MIT had given a 2:30 deadline for people to leave the encampment, and a few people did, talking with people inside. A couple of foreign visa students here were forced to leave because they were worried about their visas. Also, people that were out to lunch were not allowed back in. So the crowd inside the encampment had gone down to 9. 6 people and 3 professors who said they were on an advisory council. But then at 5:30, as you see right here, they're bringing more and more stuff into this encampment. And as they do, we have noticed that police have retreated. We don't see them here. They had formed a line, officers on bicycles, officers that were just standing here, and they had formed a line around the encampment, but they have retreated as of 5:30. It is unclear from our vantage point right here where they have gone. Now, you mentioned that things did get a little tense around 2:20 this afternoon as police moved in and tried to block the one main entrance in and out of the encampment. There was a swell in the crowd pushing against them. There was a brief moment of pushing and shoving, but that came to an end. And so this is where we are right now, with more and more people arriving inside the encampment. The fences that were kind of dividing the encampment and keeping people out and keeping people in have been torn down. And it appears that they're planning to be here a while, as evidenced by the fact they're bringing in more tents, they're bringing in more food, and they're bringing in more water. We're going to walk around. I'd like to see if we can figure out where the police did go in terms of the emergency response that was out here. But as you can see, this is a situation that continues to evolve and change almost minute by minute. Send it back to you.
All right, Eli joining us live there on the MIT campus. Be sure to stay with NBC 10 Boston for the very latest on these student encampments and the ceasefire proposal